News with Mitsumi Takahashi.
Good evening. There's more rain coming to the Montreal area, and the city of Montreal has raised its flood alert to its highest level. The coordinator of emergency operations, Richard Libman, says they've been watching water levels since March 15th. Blue-collar workers are being dispatched to the boroughs most at risk for flooding.
They've already started to put up protective measures, pumps, balloons, et cetera, et cetera. That's all been done. So the big difference with level 3 is now we open the Emergency Operations Center 24 hours a day staffed, but we've had a virtual Emergency Operations Center open since we went to level 2 at the beginning of the week.
There's also a risk of flooding in municipalities around Montreal. In Saint-Jérôme, for example, the city's decided to close a bridge because the water there is too high. Matt Grillo reports.
Right behind me is the Rivière du Nord, and the sight of the water rushing downstream is quite impressive. A lot of people are coming to take a look, but it is also very concerning. You can see how powerful the current is. And the water level is so high up that it started to touch the base of a nearby bridge, the Viau Bridge. So the city has decided to close it as a precaution. Saint-Jérôme has also distributed more than 2,000 sandbags to citizens living by the water. There are a few streets and neighborhoods which are of particular concern because they have homes that back onto the water. But the latest info we have from the mayor's office is that there haven't been any floods yet. But of course, there is concern for what may come in the next few days. We heard from the mayor yesterday, who said melting snow from the Laurentians and rainfall are two issues the city has to deal with. South of here in Laval, the city says water levels are expected to increase for the next few days. This morning, crews were out building a dike along Riviera Street, right next to the Mille-Île River. And that's something that will take 5 days to install. We are expecting between 10 to 25 millimeters of rain to fall in the Montreal area, and that's particularly concerning because many rivers are being watched closely for flooding. Matt Grillo, CTV News, Saint-Jérôme.
There was sentencing today for the man who killed 15-year-old Miriam Bundawi in a drive-by shooting. He was convicted on 1 count of first-degree murder and 4 counts of attempted murder. Kelly Gregg reports.
30-year-old Salim Touebi is facing a life sentence with no chance of parole for 25 years for the murder of Miriam Bundawi. Judge Yvan Poulin saying today the man showed no responsibility or remorse for the crime and intended to kill even if she was not the intended target. Bundawi was killed in a drive-by shooting in 2021 in St. Leonard. The judge said today the 15-year-old was in the wrong place at the wrong time and was not involved in a conflict that led to the shooting. Touebi also faced 4 counts of attempted murder as other people in the car were hit. He was sentenced to 25 years for each of those cases, but the time will be served concurrently. During the proceedings today, the judge recounted a number of aggravating factors. Touebi was already on probation at the time for other weapons charges, that he used every bullet in the gun, the number of victims, and the fact that the shooting happened in a busy neighborhood. He added, this case goes to show the prevalence of gun crime in Montreal. Another victim, who we cannot name due to a publication ban, was left with severe physical issues and chronic pain. They used to be an athlete, but have since had to give up sports altogether. Justice Poulin also spoke about the courage the Bundawi family has shown through proceedings, saying it's especially painful to lose a 15-year-old with her whole life ahead of her. The family and lawyers didn't speak to reporters today, but Bundawi's sister did share their story after they gave their victim impact statements earlier this month.
Ça nous apporte un peu de soulagement, une petite paix. Merci à la justice. Mais elle est toujours là, la douleur, toujours avec nous. La douleur vit avec nous.
Saying there, the guilty verdict does give them some comfort, a small piece, but the pain is always there, and they'll always have to live with it. Kelly Gregg, CTV News.
A 27-year-old man is being charged in connection with the shooting death of a woman downtown yesterday. Alexandre Karim Amal Resto faces 1 count of manslaughter. The victim is identified as Hiba Ezrahi. She was shot yesterday afternoon in a condo on Simpson. She was pronounced dead at the scene. The accused was arrested at Trudeau Airport. Dozens of support staff with the Montreal school service centres have been let go. They refuse to comply with Quebec's provincial new secularism law. The law extends the ban on religious symbols to everyone working within a school. And Matt, unions are again warning about disruptions.
Yeah, that's right, Mitsumi. They're particularly concerned about the impact on after-school daycare services. A single daycare worker is typically responsible for around 20 children. So you can imagine the ripple effect if they were to lose too many of those. The new secularism law, Bill 94, does have a grandfather clause in it, but it only applies to up to the day the bill was tabled, so March 19th of last year. Any worker who was hired or has since changed positions, whether they wear a religious symbol or not, those people are now getting letters sent to them, and they have to sign them stating that they intend to comply with the law. If they don't wear a religious symbol, they sign, and it's no problem. If they do, then they refuse to sign, then they have to be dismissed. At the CSSDM, the largest school service center in Montreal, around 40 workers so far have refused to sign and have been let go. The CSSDM says that so far the services to the students have not been impacted, but they do admit that it could make recruitment in the future harder. Now, the real impact, though, according to the union, is being felt inside the schools. Michel Picard with the CSN says daycare workers have been creating bonds with their students all year long, and he says there have been a lot of tearful goodbyes.
Donc, les élèves disaient « Pourquoi tu n'es pas là demain? » Les enfants pleuraient, ils ne comprenaient pas. Ben, c'est parce que je ne peux plus revenir à l'école. Donc, les enfants pleuraient, l'éducatrice pleurait, la directrice qui l'avait rencontrée pour lui dire que si tu ne signes pas, tu perds ton emploi, pleurait elle aussi.
Now, he says all of the workers affected by the law are women, and for the ones who are protected by the grandfather clause, their possibility of career advancement has now effectively been taken away. Any change of position would cancel the grandfather clause. We also reached out to the English Montreal School Board. They refused to give any comment for the time being about the law. Mitsumi.
Thanks very much, Matt. The leader of the Quebec Liberals says he believes the French language must be protected, and to that end, he says his government would renew the notwithstanding clause to protect Bill 96. That's Quebec's language law. Charles Milliard made the comments today at the National Assembly. The notwithstanding clause shields the language law from legal challenges.
I am for the main objective of Bill 96, which is to protect French. And I've been talking to a lot of Anglophones and allophones about that. They're all about protecting and promoting French, even if my opponents say the opposite.
But Milliard says he would make two changes to the law. He says he would cut red tape for small and medium-sized businesses, and he would remove the clause that says immigrants would have to receive all services in French after 6 months in Quebec. Canada Post has begun the process of phasing out door-to-door mail delivery. More than 130,000 homes will lose it by the end of next year. Canada Post says it's in discussions with 13 communities across the country. The plan is to move 4 million addresses to community mailboxes over the next 5 years. Canada Post is also considering closing some post offices. The city has asked people to report potholes by calling 311. One woman says she does that every year, but this year, she says, she's seeing no fixes. Angela McKenzie reports.
This is the third time this year Nina Fragapane has contacted the city to report potholes on Rue La Croix, the entryway to Angrignon Metro's parking lot.
Kind of looks like the surface of the moon because some of the potholes are very, very large and deep.
She says since 2023, she's flagged potholes here nearly 20 times.
Usually they're very good. They come the next day, they patch up the holes, but this year they're falling behind.
This year, some of her complaints are now marked as completed, but she says it never seems to be fixed.
It's horrendous because, you know, you have to swerve, you have to go slowly.
Taxi driver Dave Dillon navigates these potholes every day.
This is the worst I have seen, you know. No, it's very hard. There's like so many. It's very hard to avoid.
He suspects a lot of cars are being damaged when they drive here to park.
But people come here once in a while. I'm sure they damage their wheels.
The City of Montreal declined our request for an interview. In an email, it says, "We are sparing no effort to prevent potholes in the long term. We have allocated $683 million for resurfacing programs in our 2026-2035 infrastructure plan." It adds it's each borough's responsibility to dispatch crews and says it transferred more funds to the boroughs last month and awarded patching contracts. It says nearly 15,000 potholes were repaired across the city. It also says people should continue to report potholes using 311.
It's the entrance.
But Nina says so far that hasn't worked well for her.
So I would like to see long-lasting work, not things that we have to repair like every few months.
So people like her can get to public transit without blowing a tire. Angela McKenzie, CTV News.
Montreal blue-collar workers are on the second day of a 3-day strike. This morning, some of them blocked the street outside the Botanical Gardens at Sherbrooke and P9. Another group held a rally at a park on the Montreal side of the Jacques-Cartier Bridge. The workers are asking for a 20% pay increase over 5 years. The city is offering about half that. Sharing too much online can be dangerous, and often we don't even know we're doing it. Now there's help from some students at the study in Westmount. They've developed an app that flags those risks before we can hit post. Here's Sweeta Rassi.
Smile.
It's a perfectly ordinary photo of these teenage girls, but watch what happens when it goes through their app.
This image has a lot of risks.
Something you probably didn't even notice. The students have their school crest on their uniforms, and that small detail can be used by strangers online to figure out where they are. So the girls came up with a solution, an app called Safe Trace. Zinyi Zhang is the co-creator.
The AI analyzes potential risks and personal information that can be revealed from the image.
Built by these 5 students at the study, the app doesn't just flag the risks, it fixes them too. Using AI, it scans the pictures and alerts users to anything that could reveal locations or personal information. From there, it's up to the user to decide what they want to remove. And in seconds, the app provides the safe version of the photo.
Say you have a public account and you upload it, people can dox you because they can use this address and say, oh, you live on this street, you live in this city.
The students created the app as a way to prevent anyone from being a victim of doxing, which is the malicious act of sharing someone's private information online. According to the governments of Canada, women are more often targeted than men, and 1 in 3 young women have experienced some form of online harassment. Amalia Liogis is the director of IT.
My hope is that we can show that young girls can change the world.
A free app made by these students to keep all women safe. Sweeta Rassi, CTV News.
And as Sweeta just said, that app is free. People can download it at safetrace.ca. We could be seeing more terraces this summer. The city is making it easier for restaurants to set them up downtown. Olivia O'Malley reports.
Despite the weather, Le Pois Penché is looking forward to terrace season. It's being installed in May, and the city is making it cheaper to set up.
I think it's going to be beneficial, and we want our clients to enjoy it and have a great summer this year.
The Ville-Marie Borough is reducing the cost for restaurateurs. Terrace permits will be cheaper until 2030. The price will differ per establishment, but the mayor says a restaurant on St. Catherine Street could save thousands of dollars.
The city of Montreal is a wonderful city, a better city because we have terraces. And downtown core doesn't have to be an obstacle because the cost is too high.
Ferreira Cafe is in the heart of downtown on Peel Street. Group Ferreira's general director, Sandra Ferreira, says she estimates the measure will save them $1,200.
Restaurants' margins are very slim, so any amount is good. And you know what? It's the first amount that I'm hearing lately that has gone down and not up.
2 years ago, during F1 weekend, the restaurant was told to kick customers off its packed terrace and close down. The fire department says it was not up to code. Since then, Ferreira says communication with authorities has tremendously improved.
I'm hopeful that this will not happen. We have the support from the mayor and her team, and as well as the firefighters, so hopefully we'll all be good this summer.
The fire department is assuring restaurant owners it's changed its approach.
Instead of using repression, we're doing it in a more collaborative way. We're also in much better communication. In the last couple of years, we've established better communications with the boroughs.
Ferreira's Terrace will look something like this starting Monday, setting up for an early and hopefully warm Grand Prix weekend in May. Olivia O'Malley, CTV News.
And the Stanley Cup playoffs begin on Saturday. The Habs play their first game on Sunday in Tampa against the Lightning. And here in Montreal, businesses and restaurants are getting ready. Here's Christine Long.
We've got the reopened Peel Pub has their new craft brew available just in time for playoff fever.
Sure, bringing in the fans will help Peel Pub, especially when we just open.
Playoff hockey means paying customers, which is a real bonus on weeknights, says Ziggy Eichenbaum, who's doubling up on stock orders for his bar.
40% up. And it's a lot nicer when it's during the week instead of the weekend, because the weekend we're busy anyway with the tourists and everybody else. But during the week when they play, a lot of the followers come down.
The kitchen stays open late at Chez Alexandre on nights when there's a home game during the playoffs.
25–30% more business when the hockey game in Montreal.
It's all Caulfield. At Sports Crescent, Santana Enrique is excited, but knows clients' spending follows the Canadians' wins.
This is Caulfield. It go for regular price is $240, but we put them $179 because we don't want to get stuck with, because in case they be out after a few games.
Enrique doesn't want to be stuck with overstock like he was a few years ago.
We know in 2021 they took the Canadian out after 5 games only.
Mayor Soraya Martinez-Ferrada is optimistic for this season.
When we do the series, it's good for business. It's good for just having people happy.
Your mood drives your spending behavior.
Payment data shows that in 2021, during the Canadian Stanley Cup final run, spending on food and drinks around the Bell Centre surged by 183%. That can happen again.
When consumers can see it and feel it, they feel like they're a part of it. And when you feel like you're a part of something, you want to get in on the action. And it costs money to get in on the action.
That action begins this weekend.
We're expecting the Habs to win and head to the next round. So we're looking forward to them coming into play new.
Go Habs, go!
Because every win at home for the Canadians is a game changer for businesses in the downtown core. Christine Long, CTV News.
And there is playoff fever in the Metro. The STM and the Canadians have teamed up to support fans heading to the Bell Centre. Take a listen.
Prochaine station, Mont-Royal.
Prochaine station, Lucien de la Vieille.
Prochaine station, Edouard Montpetit.
Prochaine station, P9.
Those are the Habs. Some stations are being announced by the team. It started today and will last throughout the Canadians' playoff run. Habs players will be calling out approaching Metro stops. The messages can be heard on the lines that are headed to the Bell Centre, whether there's a game or not. And coming up, he was deported from the United States.
The nonsense that's going on in the country is just unbearable.
After 20 years in America, he is banned from ever going back.
Before we get into the question.
And back here on Earth, taking questions, we hear from the crew of Artemis II. Douglas Dixon returned to Montreal today more than 20 years after he left for Florida. He was deported from the United States yesterday after he was arrested by ICE agents. Judy Trin reports.
When he got off the plane, all Douglas Dixon had was a duffel bag and a yellow envelope containing his deportation order.
The nonsense that's going on in the country is just unbearable.
Dixon, a green card holder, is banned from returning to the U.S. 4 years ago, he pleaded guilty to tax evasion after his smoothie business closed during the COVID pandemic. Since 2022, he had paid back nearly $20,000, but still owed the government $12,000. In February, he was arrested by ICE and taken to Alligator Alcatraz. His friends were shocked.
He was blindsided, and in my opinion, he was a victim.
His hockey teammates wrote letters to the judge vouching for his character. They offered to pay off his debt.
What could we have done? Well, we would, hey, let's have a GoFundMe. Let's have a charity hockey game to help out Dougie.
But it was too late. Under U.S. law, defrauding the government of more than $10,000 is considered an aggravated felony and grounds for removal.
With an aggravated felony, you get no rights. You can't go for bond, although we tried.
He was detained at Alligator Alcatraz and another facility for 65 days. In that time, Dixon spoke with but did not see his wife and children. They sent a video message.
Love him so much and miss him very much. Yeah.
So proud to have to, it's been 2 months of being away. And I'm just proud that he has continued to wake up every morning, right?
Wow. Well, I'm glad. Do they have a copy of that I can keep forever?
I asked Douglas Dixon why he kept his financial troubles a secret and why he didn't reach out to his friends for help earlier. He said he was too proud and embarrassed that his business had failed. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
There's hope for a possible breakthrough in the Middle East. Donald Trump today announced a 10-day ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon. And now there's hope that could lead the way for more peace talks between the U.S. and Iran. Olivia Rubin reports from Washington.
Just hours after Israel and Hezbollah traded strikes today, President Trump announcing Israel and Lebanon now agreeing to a 10-day ceasefire.
It's a very nice little package for about a week, and we're not going to have lots of bombs dropping, and we're going to see if we can make peace between Lebanon and Israel.
Both Israel and Lebanon confirming the ceasefire, though Israel's prime minister saying IDF troops won't withdraw from their positions in Lebanon. The new ceasefire a potential key piece in bringing Iran back to the negotiating table. The U.S. trying to end the war while threatening more strikes if no deal is made.
If there's no deal, fight and resume.
Okay, and then on gas prices, how much longer will Americans continue to see these high gas prices?
Well, they're not very high. If you look at what they were supposed to be in order to get rid of a nuclear weapon with the danger that entails. So the gas prices have come down very much over the last 3-4 days.
In the meantime, the military saying the U.S. blockade of Iranian ports is working. No ships passing through, squeezing Iran economically.
All captains of all these ships have made the wise decision not to move, transit, or run this blockade.
But publicly, Iran not backing down, calling the blockade a violation of the ceasefire, while Iranian state TV reporting the country has increased its production of military drones to 10 times the pre-war level. And on Capitol Hill today, the Republican-led House once again failing to adopt a war powers resolution, which would curtail President Trump's military actions in Iran. This is now the third time this has failed in Congress. Olivia Rubin, ABC News, Washington.
Pope Leo has become an outspoken critic of the U.S. war with Iran, and he's also become the target of online attacks by Donald Trump. Well, today he blasted world leaders who spend billions on wars without naming the U.S. president.
They turn a blind eye to the fact that billions of dollars are spent on killing, on devastation, yet the resources needed for healing, education, and restoration are nowhere to be found.
Leo was speaking in Cameroon. He also criticized leaders who use religious language to justify their wars. Russia unleashed its deadliest attack yet this year. At least 16 people were killed in Kyiv and in other cities. Ukraine says Russia launched a wave of nearly 700 drones as well as 19 ballistic and other cruise missiles. Russia claims it was attacked as well by 2 Ukrainian drones, and that killed 2 children. The attacks come after a brief ceasefire for Orthodox Easter weekend. The crew of Artemis II has been back on Earth for about a week now. Today, the astronauts, including Canadian Jeremy Hansen, took some questions. Here's Heather Wright.
They traveled more than 400,000 kilometers to the far side of the moon and back. Commander Reed Wiseman says the crew launched as friends and returned as best friends.
We are bonded forever. I mean, that's the closest 4 humans can be and not be a family.
For 10 days, the Artemis II crew captured the hearts and imagination of the world, going further and faster into space than any human has gone, and seeing the moon and the world from brand new perspectives.
We're all kind of struck by these things that make us feel small, and that the sense I had was this sense of fragility and feeling small, infinitesimally small, but yet this very powerful feeling as a human being, like as a group.
Speaking to reporters from the Johnson Space Center this afternoon, the crew says while they had an idea of the attention their mission was getting, they initially didn't know the extent of it until talking to their families back on Earth.
When my husband looked me in the eye on that video call and said, "No, really, you've made a difference," it brought tears to my eyes, and I said, "That's all we ever wanted."
Canadian astronaut Jeremy Hansen hopes this mission inspires the next generation of astronauts to dream big and says it underscores the importance of working together.
Don't do it alone, and share what you're trying to accomplish with others, because you need the support of others to do big things. And so share your goals, be brave enough to share them, and then you'll be surprised how people surround you and lift you up to accomplish them.
Asked how optimistic they are that humans could soon have a permanent presence on the moon, Commander Wiseman said not only is it doable, but doable soon. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
And coming up, he was lucky he wasn't hurt.
I was driving. I was 10 minutes away from home. It was terrifying.
For no reason at all, his airbag went off. And it was a stunning political defeat. So are there lessons the U.S. can learn from Hungary? This past weekend in Hungary, Viktor Orban was ousted from power. It was a crushing defeat. For 16 years, Orban ran the country as an autocracy touted as a democracy. The people of Hungary finally voted to end all that. Kyle Matthews is with the Montreal Institute for Global Security. Hi, Kyle.
Hi, Muzumi.
So, Kyle, people have said that Orban couldn't have been an autocrat because he did hold an election and he did leave after losing it. But autocracy does come in degrees, doesn't it? I mean, Orban's was called a soft autocracy. He did suppress a lot of freedoms.
He sure did. I mean, he was in power for 16 years. He did have some support, but he increasingly dismantled elements of the state, shut down free media, gave close associates or friends control of state media, weaponized the courts, and increasingly became a place where there were less freedoms, and found himself fighting against the European Union and against other European allies and taking the side of Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine. So he was a real mixed bag, trying to move the country into a hard autocracy, I'd say.
And Orban did have the support of U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance, went to Hungary during the election campaign to show support of the United States. Not surprising, then, that he would be an ally of Donald Trump.
Not surprising at all. I mean, the current U.S. administration has said that they're against most liberal Democrats in Europe, and they want to support far-right populist parties. So, yeah, very surprising that the Trump administration interfered in the election by supporting Orban, but it didn't come to nothing. It was almost like a kiss of death, and we saw that with the Canadian elections, where the U.S. engagement saw us vote for Mark Carney. We saw it in Australia. So we're learning something here, that maybe the Trump administration should stay out of publicly supporting some candidates they prefer.
Would it be fair, do you think, to call what the U.S. has now a soft autocracy?
I think that's fair. I think if you look at what Orban did, and you look at what the second Trump administration is doing, it's very, very similar. It's shutting down the media, trying to control media to push certain ideological messages, interference in the economy, all the signs of an autocracy, of not respecting the rule of law, demonizing your political opponents. It is happening in the United States. So there are some definitely lessons we can learn. But perhaps the one thing about the U.S., it's going faster than what we saw that Orban was able to achieve in a 4-year period.
Yeah, because it's been just over a year. So people often ask then, how can they fight back against Donald Trump? Do you think there are any lessons to be learned from Hungary?
I think there are a lot of key lessons, and putting aside the support for Russia over Ukraine, of fighting with the European Union, Orban made one mistake, and that was corruption. He was corrupt. He lived in lavish, he had lavish, palaces across the country. People saw their livelihoods kind of disappear, and just saw the corruption going to his entourage, his political entourage, and that was the end of it. Peter Magyar, who won the election, walked across the country, stopped in villages, and corruption was a message that he conveyed, and people listened to him.
So what next for Hungary, do you think, after Orban?
Well, the new ruler, he is a center-right. He's a conservative. He doesn't support open borders, so he has some things similar to Orban in some ways, but he's calling now for better relations with the EU. He's trying to do reforms so that Hungary will follow EU law and EU foreign policy. So I think the country is going to be back on track. I think it's going to do better and get financing from the EU that was cut off because of the tensions between Orban's government and the European Union.
Okay. Thank you very much, Kyle.
Thank you.
Weather brought to you by Gratian Scaff's second pair is a gift event including designer frames. A second pair free for a limited time.
Well, the Montreal area has been sitting under a special weather statement for most of the day. It was calling for up to 25 millimeters of rain, but the sun will come out tomorrow, as they say. More in that in just a second. But first, checking in with our temperature, seeing 17 degrees in Sherbrooke and 13 degrees right now in the Montreal area. So that is in fact warmer than our expected high for today. That number was sitting at 12, and 12 is also now looking like our normal daytime high for this point of the season. We are once again expecting this warm weather to continue as we head into later tonight. We've got a low expected at 9 degrees, along with showers shifting over to mainly cloudy skies. Now, as we head into early tomorrow morning, we're expecting to hold on to those clouds for a little while. Our wake-up temperature is looking like +7. By afternoon, we could be adding 10 degrees to that. So our expected high for tomorrow is looking like 17 degrees, and we are also expecting those clouds to clear out. So we do have a break coming on its way. Our futurecast showing us, again, those clouds for the early morning. They start to clear as we get toward noon, and we're expecting plenty of sunshine as we head into the later afternoon and early evening. Question is, of course, how long will that stick around? Well, on Saturday morning, we are forecasting some sun before an additional 11 millimeters of rain comes in. But take a look again at the expected daytime high for Saturday. That number is sitting at 21 degrees, so about twice as warm as what we'd expect for this time of year, but expecting to see a cooler day on Sunday. So our high for Sunday is looking like 8. We're also forecasting an additional 3 millimeters of rain coming in that day. And then we're looking at some possible return to some sunshine, mostly cloudy days on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and be ready for roughly 2 millimeters of rain come Tuesday as well.
The driver of a pickup truck says he survived a terrifying ordeal. His airbags deployed for no reason while he was driving. Pat Foran reports.
I was driving. I was 10 minutes away from home. It was terrifying.
Victor Sanchez of Mississauga says it was in February when he was driving his 2025 Ram 1500 truck. He says without warning, the airbags deployed.
My airbags went off with no collision. It was both my curtains and both my seats.
Sanchez says the loud bang startled him and almost caused him to lose control.
I only felt like a huge explosion. My hazard lights went on. I was disoriented at the moment. Pretty scary, to be honest.
He says he was glad it's a newer truck still under warranty because he was told replacing the airbags and other components of the safety system would cost $15,000 to $20,000.
All my headliner has to be replaced. My seats need to be replaced. All my seat belts need to be replaced, and all the modules.
Sanchez took the truck to his dealer and was told there would have to be an investigation. It's been over a month, and he says he can't get answers. When CTV News reached out to Stellantis Canada, a spokesperson said data from the vehicle's occupant restraint control module indicates the vehicle was beginning to tip, and multiple onboard systems predicted a rollover event. The airbag deployment operated as designed, and no manufacturing defect was identified. Stellantis said since there was no defect, the cost will not be covered, adding warranties do not cover repairs required due to fire, accidents, abuse, negligence, and misuse. Sanchez worries he'll now be out of pocket for the repairs and the rental car he's been driving. He didn't expect to have such a large repair bill on a newer vehicle.
We're talking about a $90,000 truck I just bought. It was my dream truck. I worked for 5 years a lot to buy it, and I haven't been able to use it. And I'm still responsible for car payments, insurance.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Amazon's new fuel surcharge will take effect tomorrow. Sellers will have to pay a 3.5% surcharge to have Amazon pack and deliver their goods. The company is blaming the charge on the rising fuel costs. And coming up, taking a stand against energy drinks.
But now to see that it can actually, for a lot of these kids, lead to something as serious as arrhythmia and even death.
Parents, schools, unions say teenagers shouldn't be allowed to buy them.
Menswear provided by Ernest. Elevate your style with Ernest. Your Health, brought to you by Gratianscap's second pair is a gift event including designer frames. A second pair free for a limited time.
There's a new call to ban the sale of energy drinks to teenagers. It comes from a coalition of parents, schools, and unions, and it follows the death of a 16-year-old. He died after drinking a can of Red Bull. Stéphane Giroux reports.
If it was up to many school principals in Quebec, it would be illegal to sell energy drinks like these to teenagers, just like cigarettes.
We've been banning them at the school for nearly a decade, but now to see that it can actually, for a lot of these kids, lead to something as serious as arrhythmia and even death.
Zachary Miron was an athletic teenager who died 2 years ago during a ski outing after drinking a can of Red Bull. He was on ADHD medication. The mix caused a heart arrhythmia, leading to his sudden death. His story turned his parents into activists to restrict the sale of energy drinks.
Oui, je sens que la tragédie commence à réveiller le monde.
Every tragedy is a wake-up call, says Miron, who's gathered 16,000 signatures on a petition to ban the sale of the drinks to children under 16. Dozens of brands are available on store shelves, many containing more than 4 times the amount of caffeine found in a cup of coffee. Just last week, a family in Texas launched a $1 million wrongful death lawsuit against an energy drink maker after their daughter, Larissa Rodriguez, also suffered from a caffeine-induced arrhythmia.
It was really hard. This is the hardest thing that I've ever gone through in my life.
The medical examiner did 100 different tests, all negative, and the only finding was caffeine.
2 weeks ago, Zachary's parent met with Quebec's Health Minister Sonia Bélanger, who said the government is seriously considering banning the drinks for people under 16. It couldn't come a moment too soon, according to educators.
We've done it in the past for cigarettes, for vaping, for screens.
Because for some parents, one preventable tragedy should be enough to force policy change. Stéphane Giroux, CTV News.
Seems people are still being hospitalized for COVID. In fact, it was still a major cause of hospitalizations in Canada last year. A study says the hospitalizations for all vaccine-preventable respiratory diseases is more than double what it was before the pandemic. Some 58,000 people in Canada were hospitalized for vaccine-preventable respiratory diseases last year, and more than 40% of them was because of COVID.
Business News brought to you by Au Vieux de Louvre, where memories and meals come together.
A new federal program has kicked in, and a lot more Canadians are buying electric vehicles. Morella Fernandez has more on that.
Statistics Canada is reporting a big jump in the purchase of zero-emission vehicles for February. New vehicle sales were actually down about 1% that month year over year to just over 124,000. But more than 12,600 of them were zero emission. And that's a 47% increase from February of last year. It coincides with the start of a federal program that gives cash back to Canadians for these purchases. There is a split happening in the Canadian real estate market. Royal LePage says home prices are up over 10% in a mid-market city like Quebec City, but down closer to 5% in big cities like Toronto and Vancouver. The company also says buyers now aim to sell first before buying, a reversal from the last 2 decades. Choice Properties REIT and KingSett Capital are buying First Capital REIT for $9.4 billion, including debt. First Capital owns strip malls anchored by grocery stores, mainly in Ontario and Quebec. Choice Properties is owned by the Weston family of the Loblaws empire. Choice and KingSett will split the properties. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is up to $72.98. West Texas Intermediate is up more than $3 to $91.17. Western Canadian Select hasn't moved much. It's at $70.41. And the TSX lost 103 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Morella Fernandez.
Grammy-nominated singer Teddy Swims is coming to the Bell Centre October 7th. The show is part of his North American tour.
Something's got a hold on me lately. No, I don't know myself anymore.
The tour begins September 22nd in Kansas City. The other Canadian dates are Toronto, October 5th, and Vancouver, November 6th. The tickets go on sale to the general public April 24th. Well, Quebec has a new premier. And Caroline, we're finding out more about who Christine Fréchette is.
Yes, through one of her close friends who we spoke to today. According to Caroline Sorial, Christine Fréchette has a sense of humor and calls herself a unifier and a defender of the French language. And she's also not afraid to stand up for her convictions, but those are qualities that will likely be called upon because she could soon face the ire of Donald Trump, who is apparently eyeing Bill 109 and its new requirements for streaming services in the province to prioritize French language content. He says that's a trade barrier. We'll also have details of what a truck driver was doing just before he rammed into a car, killing a mother and son in Brossard. That's all at 11:30 tonight. Mitsumi.
Thanks very much, Caroline. And when we come back, we meet Elmer, who's very lucky to be alive.
Stay with us. We've got another full night of great shows for you right here tonight on CTV.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
Increasing number of abandoned buildings.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVMontreal.ca, your home for news.
A kitten named Elmer has thankfully survived a very sticky situation. Here's Danny New.
This 6-week-old kitty looks a lot different than he did earlier this month.
He looks fantastic.
Yeah, doesn't he look good? He looks great.
And here's why we keep saying that. A few weeks ago, he was brought into the Humane Society of North Texas, covered head to paw in some kind of industrial glue.
We immediately sprung into action. We didn't even ask questions. We're just like, let's go.
Longtime staff member Cassie Davidson tells me a good Samaritan brought in this kitty after finding him in a vat of that viscous adhesive, and the medical staff quickly started trying out different solvents. For some reason, canola oil proved to be the best.
Bye, guys.
So while slowly feeding him, Cassie says 4 staff members spent 7 hours massaging him with oil and then wrapping him in gauze to let the oil soak into his fur. In those 7 hours, they went through 2 gallons of canola oil.
It was very, very labor intensive, but we were committed. And then he started to perk up. As more and more glue was removed, he kind of just found his spark again.
Slowly but surely, the team was able to remove most of the glue and get a sense of the rambunctious personality of this kitten, now named Elmer.
He has just a little bit of glue left, like on his paw.
And now, a few weeks later, Elmer is still getting regular oil baths to remove some leftover spots, although some they're going to just let grow out to protect his skin. Either way, Cassie says he's still going to demand a lot of attention.
He still has some abrasions. Anytime you have hardened, oh yeah, I see he just wants love. I know.
If you're wondering, Cassie says Elmer needs to gain a little more weight and get a little older before he can get adopted out. But when the time comes, Cassie says she expects it to be quite easy to get that face adopted. In New York, for ABC News, I'm Danny New.
I'm sure it would be. Okay, so we're going to see some sun tomorrow, Anastasia.
That's right, Mitsumi. It's been a long time coming with this weather this week. We're looking at showers on and off until about 9 p.m. for the rest of the evening. Then we see a shifting over to mainly cloudy skies. Our low is expected at +9 for the night. And then we'll have a wake-up temperature close to 8 or 7 degrees. But good news, it's looking up from there. So on top of the sunshine that we're expecting to see as we get toward the early afternoon, we're looking at a double-digit daytime high. So we should hit a temperature of about 7 degrees somewhere between 3 and 5 p.m. tomorrow. So a beautiful Friday. You're going to want to soak that in. Expecting to hold on to some sunshine to start Saturday, and then we could see a return to some rain. Mitsumi?
And that's it for us. Have a good evening. Stay well. Good night.